Welcome to the Cardiac Surgery Podcast by DelenHeart, your trusted source for clear, expert-guided answers to everything heart surgery. From preparation to recovery, we break it all down so you feel informed, empowered, and supported every step of the way. Let's get started. Today we're talking about the little things. The quiet, behind-the-scenes preparations that can make a big difference before and after heart surgery. These are the kinds of things I wish more people knew going in, because they can ease the process and even improve outcomes. From grooming tips to bathroom prep, hydration to mindset, we're covering it all. Let's dive in. Before we get started, just a quick note. This is not a medical checklist. It's a collection of real-life things patients often say they wish they'd known before cardiac surgery. It's not a complete list, and it's not in any particular order. Just some of the common surprises people talk about after surgery. My goal is to help you feel a bit more prepared. Let's start with something simple but important: preparing your body. Here's something people often wonder. Grooming before surgery. Sounds trivial, right? But a few small actions can reduce discomfort and lower your risk of complications. It all begins by properly following your doctor's instructions on how best to prepare. For example, do not shave your chest or surgical site before surgery. Now, when it comes to chest hair or areas where dressings and EKG leads will be placed, many patients think it's helpful to shave ahead of time. Unfortunately, this is not accurate. Shaving can create tiny cuts and raise your risk of infection. What happens instead? If any hair needs to be removed, your surgical team will safely trim the hair using battery or electric-powered clippers on the day of surgery. Years of scientific evidence demonstrate that shaving surgical sites with razor before surgery increases infection. So bottom line, skip the shaving. Let your team take care of it. It's safer, cleaner, and still helps the adhesive stick better, while sparing you that painful hair pulling when dressings come off. Simple but important. How about your hair, you might ask? If you have long hair, consider putting it in a more secure style. Hair can get tangled, matted, or pulled out during positioning, transport, or recovery. Moving on to another vital point. Planning to wear a wig or toupee? Keep in mind that it may need to come off during surgery or your ICU stay. Choose comfort and practicality over style. Remember, surgery is temporary and it matters. Enjoying the podcast so far? Join our community for the latest health insights. Go on, subscribe, like, and comment. Don't forget to share this information to help others stay informed. One last but very important note on preparing your body. If you develop any new symptoms in the days leading up to your surgery, like a cold, fever, cough, or flu, don't ignore them. Even if they seem minor, call your surgeon's office and let them know. The same goes for unexpected health changes, like becoming pregnant or developing a new condition. The goal is to head into surgery as healthy as possible, and keeping your team updated helps them make the best and safest decisions for you. Here's a quick but important one. Nails. False nails and dark polish may look great, but they interfere with how well the pulse oximeter, that little clip placed on your finger, measures your oxygen levels. Clean, short natural nails are safest. Love your manicure? Don't worry, you can redo it after your hospital stay. During and after surgery, your care team needs accurate data. Now, while we're talking about preparation, there's something else that surprises a lot of people, and that's who is actually caring for you after surgery. One thing that often catches patients off guard is learning that their surgeon won't always be at their ICU bedside, caring for them at all times. And you might wonder, wait, where's the surgeon? The truth? This is completely normal in post-surgical care. Your care doesn't rest on one person. It's managed by a team of highly skilled professionals. That team includes your surgeon, intensivists, nurses, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, physical and respiratory therapists, medical students or residents working under close supervision, and some consultants in a variety of specialties. Each person plays a crucial role in ensuring your recovery stays on track. Your surgeon is still involved, making key decisions and following your progress. But day-to-day care is handled by this coordinated team. It's not something to be nervous about. It's actually one of the strengths of modern surgical care. The more you understand the rhythm of this team-based approach, the more confident and reassured you'll feel when you wake up after surgery. Here's another part of the experience that often goes unmentioned. You're probably going to be asked the same questions more than once. I've heard from patients who say, "Didn't I already answer that?" And yes, you did. But don't take it personally, and don't get frustrated. This kind of repetition is actually a safety step. Each person you interact with, nurses, anesthesiologists, surgeons, needs to verify key details to make sure everyone is aligned and your care is consistent and safe. So if it feels like déjà vu, just know it's working in your favor. Now, we all tend to focus on the surgery itself, and of course, that's huge. But what often gets overlooked are the realities of recovery. What healing actually looks and feels like after the procedure. Did you know that recovery starts before you even enter the operating room? One area people often underestimate is constipation. Post-op constipation is incredibly common. Here's why. Between anesthesia, pain meds, inactivity, and dietary changes, your digestive system can slow down fast. When you're already dealing with soreness, chest incisions, and breathing discomfort, straining in the bathroom is the last thing you want. So what helps? It's those actions you take before surgery, such as proactive measures to prevent constipation. Research shows that patients who are educated and supported with a preoperative plan have better bowel outcomes. That means having a conversation with your provider about a bowel regimen tailored to you, one that considers your medications, heart or kidney conditions, and diet. It also means starting gentle movement and adding fiber-rich foods early when it's safe to do so. Another area that deserves more attention? Hydration. Staying properly hydrated supports digestion, healing, and organ function. But hydration needs vary. If you have any heart condition or kidney issues, your fluid balance requires careful guidance. Don't guess. Ask your provider what's right for you. Now let's talk movement. Staying gently active before surgery helps build strength, boosts your mood, and sets you up for a smoother recovery. You don't need to overdo it. Just think simple. Short daily walks, arm circles, or seated leg lifts, depending on what's safe for your specific condition. And perhaps most importantly, don't skip mental preparation. Surgery is physical, yes, but it's also mental. Fear, anxiety, uncertainty, they're all valid. But feeling informed and taking charge of what you can control builds resilience. Whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, or simply deep breathing, find something that grounds you. It makes a difference. All right, let's pull it all together. Preparing for cardiac surgery isn't just about labs, medications, or what the hospital tells you. It's also about the small, deeply personal actions that often go unspoken, but can profoundly shape your recovery. It's about gentle movement, nothing extreme, just enough to help circulation, digestion, and mood. It's about thoughtful hydration, not guessing, but asking what's right for your heart and kidneys. It's about mindset, calm, confidence, and self-compassion. And yes, It also involves following your doctor's guidance on the most effective preparation strategies, securing your hairstyle, removing polish, and creating a bowel plan. These aren't minor details. They're acts of preparation, of courage because facing surgery isn't easy, and of advocacy, because understanding and speaking up for your own care truly matters. I always say, the best outcomes don't start in the operating room. They start at home with knowledge, intention, and heart. If you found today's episode helpful, subscribe and share it with someone preparing for heart surgery, or even just considering it. And if you have questions you'd like me to answer in a future episode, I'd love to hear from you. Drop it in the comment below. Until next time, stay healthy and take care of your heart because it's the only one you've got.